The Edmonton Oilers have done what they needed to do on the trade market, so now it's up to Stan Bowman to simply decide yes or no to matching the two pending offer sheets. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so now if you're watching this video. It's a click for you, but it means a lot for us. So first off, let's talk about the moves that have been made from the Edmonton Oilers to free up the cap space for Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway's offer sheets to be matched. Oilers made two intriguing trades, one with Vancouver and one with San Jose. And the reason these are so intriguing, at least in my opinion, is the fact that Edmonton in both of these two trades have managed to get a usable and potentially very useful asset in return. So we'll start with the one with Vancouver. Edmonton sent a 2025 fourth round pick to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for forward Vasily Podkolzin. Podkolzin is a super interesting pickup. He didn't really light it up last season. He only had 2 assists in 19 games in the NHL for the Canucks, had 15 goals and 13 assists in 44 AHL games. He's just 24. He's got a lot of upside potentially. And importantly, his ability to play in a bottom six role and his effectiveness in a bottom six role has really come a long way since Vancouver's hiring of Rick Tocchet. And I know he hasn't played too much in the NHL under Tocchet, but it's clear that when Tocchet came in, there was a clear objective to Podkolzin that he needed to adjust his game. He needed to get grittier, and he needed to be more able to contribute on the forecheck and contribute lower in the lineup. And he's shown flashes of the guy that was considered the third best prospect in his draft class just about 6 months before his draft. And the way this guy's been developing, it doesn't look like the top six point producing superstar forward that he could have been coming out of Russia is going to be fully realized. However, I totally think this is an NHL player, and I very much think Edmonton did well to get him for just a fourth round pick. But it's the second trade that's the big one, because after so much speculation that Cody Ceci was going to be the man to move out, the Oilers did indeed send Cody Ceci to the Sharks in exchange for Ty Emberson, and they threw in a third round pick as a sweetener for San Jose to take on Ceci. Emberson, on the other hand, is a very solid young defenseman. I'm a big fan of this guy. He's just 24, and he's already shown some really solid potential. Last season, he played 30 games for San Jose, and even though his season was cut short due to a lower body injury, he's fully healthy right now, and he's ready to go in training camp. Plus, Emberson has some history playing with Oilers head coach Kris Knoblauch. He played under him in the AHL, and it was while playing for Knoblauch in the A with the Hartford Wolfpack that he was named the best defensive defenseman in the AHL's Eastern Conference, and he's kind of carried that momentum into the NHL with San Jose. He's the kind of steady, reliable presence on the blue line that can really make a difference. And I think even if Edmonton does choose to retain and match Philip Broberg, which is obviously where the signs are pointing after these trade, Emberson makes that third pair with Kulak even better than if it was Ceci, Josh Brown, or Troy Stecher in that spot. I honestly think that if it's not immediately, Emberson within a season or two is going to be better than Ceci. This is an awesome trade for Edmonton. Now let's move on and let's talk about why these moves are so crucial, especially with the offer sheets for Holloway and Broberg that need to get matched by Tuesday morning. Last week, St. Louis obviously tendered offer sheets to both players, putting the Oilers in that tough spot, and these trades were crucial for Edmonton to have the option to even match these offer sheets. If you don't know, the offer sheet for Broberg is a 2-year deal at $4.58 million a season, and for Holloway, it's $2.29 million per year. Matching these offers would have put a serious strain on Edmonton's salary cap. They were already over the salary cap to start the season, so they had to get creative. Obviously, Sunday's trades happened, but the big piece of the puzzle is that Evander Kane is set to go on long-term injured reserve due to his surgery for his sports hernia, or his hip injury that happened in the playoffs that he played through last season, the end of last season, that obviously, kept him out during the playoffs. And that move to put Kane on LTIR is going to open over $5 million, $5.125 million in cap space to be exact, which is big. And then the move for Cody Ceci and acquiring Emberson, who's on a much smaller contract. He's only at $950,000. They freed up more room. So here's how it all adds up. Credit to Puckpedia too for a lot of this information. This roster is built on their site. With Kane on LTIR and some additional roster moves like sending a player with a cap hit of over $800,000 down to the AHL, the Oilers can match both offer sheets and keep Broberg and Holloway. That's a huge win considering how tight their cap situation is. The only potential curveball to come out of this is that if Kane returns during the regular season, they will need to make a trade to stay cap compliant. Alternatively, if it's not both Broberg and Holloway, the team would be cap compliant when Kane returns without needing a trade, whether it's Broberg or Holloway, if they choose to match one and not two. At the end of the day, the Oilers have managed to navigate a really tricky situation here. They've not only put themselves in a position to match both offer sheets, but they've also added more youth and some talent, and maybe even have upgraded this roster in the process. The roster on average coming into this season was set to be one of the oldest in the NHL. And this summer, there's been a clear trend that the team is making moves to stay young, or to get younger and stay competitive at the same time. It's a tough balancing act, but Edmonton so far is towing the line well. And as much as Stan Bowman's still got a long way to go to win over the majority of Oilers fans, navigating this whole situation the way he has is a pretty good start. Speaking of Bowman making progress, though, the decision to match Philip Broberg will hopefully make some progress on another potential issue with the player. During his 32 Thoughts podcast, NHL insider Elliot Friedman shed some light on Broberg's situation, and the picture he painted isn't really a rosy perfect one for the Oilers. According to Friedman, there was a rumored trade request from Broberg back in December 2023, and he was reportedly allowed to explore options with other teams. It seems like Broberg's feelings about staying in Edmonton wouldn't have changed too much moving into this summer, obviously, since he signed the offer sheet with St. Louis, and those feelings in part obviously have led to this situation. So fingers crossed that Edmonton is bending over backwards, fingers crossed that the fact that Edmonton did bend over backwards to keep him helps repair the relationship with the player, especially if Broberg's potential does end up being fully realized. This is a guy that, as of right now, we really don't know what his ceiling is, because coming out of the NHL draft, he was picked 8th overall by Edmonton. The Oilers were hoping this guy could be a future top pairing defenseman, and then it didn't look like that was the trajectory it was heading. But the way he played in the playoffs last season, and now this vote of confidence that the move of Cody Ceci and the matching of the contract hopefully will do for Broberg, is going to really, really, really be a confidence boost, and hopefully have some serious, make some serious progress in repairing that relationship with the player, especially, again, considering the fact that there are some serious flashes, especially of late, that the Philip Broberg potential might just, in the end, be fully realized. Speaking of potential, you've got Vasily Podkolzin in there. That was a 10th overall pick back in 2019. For a 4th-round pick, there's a lot of upside. There's a lot of potential there. I like that move as well. And I like Ty Emberson a lot. He's a very useful number 6. I think he's an upgrade on either Josh Brown or Troy Stetcher, which, if Cody Ceci was going to be traded for nothing, would have been the de facto number 6, one of those two guys. I think Emberson's an upgrade on both of those. I think there's a chance that we're saying Emberson was a massive upgrade on Ceci by the end of the year. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.